when I got involved in it in the 1950s, the mid-50s, and then there were everything else was changed too. Society was different. The amount of money people had to spend, or at least people like me. I mean, my first transmitter was a 6L6 crystal oscillator nailed to a pine board, and you know, built with a small handful of components, and wound my own coils, and like everybody did, or at least everybody that didn't have any money. And you know, if you could go out and buy a Ranger and even a Midland Hallicrafters receiver or something like that, I mean, that was driving a Cadillac as far as I was concerned. And it's sort of the old stuff built on that, and it's the way my ham career went anyhow. I'm not really familiar with the 6-meter bands particularly. I've only been on it, well, very occasionally, and when I had gear to get on it. I don't even have anything that works there now. I did some 2-meter weak signal work, which is not the same thing as you're talking about. There weren't any foreign countries to be worked on there. But back in the day, I had a few states and lots of sections on 2 meters, you know, terrestrial weak signal work, and all build up various receivers and preamps and transmitters and transverters and stuff to do it with. That was an interesting sideline. So, my friend, back to you, and don't worry about buying all those boat anchors. You know, they're not going to cost you very much, not compared to the stuff that people will go out and spend thousands for. I think it's utterly insane to have a $5,000 or $6,000 rig sitting in front of you so you can say, you're 5'9" in Pittsburgh, how am I doing in Peoria, and then, okay, see you later. I think that's so meaningless compared to, you know, how much money's involved in it. But here I sit in front of 300 pounds of worth of stuff that I can't lift, that I probably couldn't get $150 for if I tried. KB3RHR from VE3AUI.
Bill, if you're selling stuff for a $150 bill, I'm your guy. Don't be giving that stuff away, pal. That's worth gold to me. Well, yeah, we're on the same boat. I guess maybe part of it is nostalgia. Part of it's history. Part of it is the fact that, unfortunately, a lot of the old timers won't be around much longer. So, if you're going to be an amateur radio operator, in the true sense of the word, I believe it's absolutely certain, for sure, that you have to learn this to carry the tradition. You know, it's got so many facets with it. I don't know. I guess I'm an engineer, so when I look at this equipment and they put the styling and the sexy Art Deco look to it, I just can't stop myself, Bill. I can't stop it. I look at this RME 45 over here, and it just reminds me of, I don't know what. It's great. You're right. And I think I paid $166 for it. I'm making a little video. I'll have to upload it to YouTube and show you where I'm sitting. But yeah, I concur with everything. You should have to learn this. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed to tell you that I was a no-coder. And if it probably wasn't for that fact, I would still probably be sitting on the other side of the fence somewhere. But knowing what I know and spending the time on my favorite band, used to be anyway, my favorite band, and wanting to work Delta X-Ray. I always tell everybody it's like castor oil. It tastes like crap, but it's good for you. And yep, I had to learn CW, which was painful. Now, that being said, I can't get in a pileup. I can take stations 1-on-1, 2-on-1, but when there's 4 or 5 calling, I gotta throw in the towel bill. But you know, that should come with time, I guess. And sometimes I get a little shy about CW because I don't like to make mistakes, and I get a little sweaty palm even to this day. With a bunch of good CW DX contacts under my belt, I still get a little sweaty palmed. But yeah, I think if you're going to operate a transmitter, sideband, AM, I don't care. You should be able to work this stuff. Now, granted, I was clueless, and I finally got a good AML where the actual guy that I bought this beautiful piece of history off of elderman me through the whole process. This thing is, I don't use the term museum quality lightly, but it is. There's no doubt, and that's why I spent the money for it. Because I wanted something that worked and was reliable and could keep me engaged. Now, I've got plenty of stuff to work on and to learn. And I've already had my screwdrivers into this beautiful, fine piece of transmitter for some issues we had after shipping. We even had to neutralize a set of tubes. What whippersnapper's done that? So, I think it's a good thing. And I promote it. I'm a big promoter. Anything I'm in, I get involved in head first. And so definitely jumped into this thing head first. So I hope I can carry the legacy on when everybody's gone. Bill, I just need some of the information that's coming at me in buckets to sink in with osmosis, because there's so much stuff that I'm not really understanding 100%, but it'll come with time, and it'll come with tinkering. So I think I've made some of my owners pretty happy that they get to see that the kid, quote unquote the kid, is broadening his horizons and just not staying the old appliance operator. So it's kind of fun, man. It really is. And even Michelle kind of thinks it's pretty cool. So back to you, my friend. Big signal with the B&W 5100. That'll be on my list, pal. That's another classic looking transmitter. Beautiful. I'm learning. Someday maybe I'll get the big iron. We were just at Xenia, and I saw a KWS-1 with the supply for 2 bills, $2,000, my friend. So that a set of Gold Dust twins, if I ever do get them, will be in a glass showcase in the center of the living room with spotlights, and everyone that visits must pay homage to the twins someday. VE3AUI from KB3RHR.
VE3AUI. That's terrific. I hope you do all of that and more. I never owned Collins. I wish I had. Of course, everybody wished they had 70 years ago, 60 years ago. Some people. somehow. Just watching my plate current and, you know, just keep an eye on it in general, and I wasn't expecting anything, and all of a sudden it took off and pinned the needle, so I lost drive or something a couple of times, just there in the last minute. And now as I sit here with the go button pressed, it seems to be back in order, so let's hope it is. Yeah, you seem to have a lot of ducks in a row there, Craig, and I think you're absolutely right. The way we dealt with radio in my early days is that because I wasn't in a position to go out and buy stuff, and first thing, there wasn't any sort of appliances available anyway. That's not the way it worked. But you had to learn your way in and out of these things in order to progress. There was no possibility of just jumping to the head of the line and buying what you wanted and not thinking anything about it, unless you were, you know, unconscionably rich and sort of didn't know the tradition. But I'll tell you, I learned about radio in the mid-50s from guys who were in the services, really. That's where they learned their communication skills and learned the CW that they knew. And one in particular was a Royal Navy radio officer. And those guys, they held classes and code classes and things like this. And you know, they didn't take any nonsense. You had to just perform, man, or they weren't interested in you. And there were lots of kids just where, you know, they thought, oh wow, we're gonna do this. And it was like just jumping in with the pros, you know, jump in the deep end, and if you could swim, okay, keep going. And I think that was good training. You know, we didn't know anything. Nobody knew anything about propagation, or they could hardly figure out one end of a two-tube transmitter from the other, but you got there, little by little. You've described the RME-45 as an Art Deco piece a couple of times. I think that's absolutely right. That sense of visual style that they had in those days in RME was pretty neat. It's kind of like looking at some of the Art Deco stuff from the late 20s or 30s. Although I think your RME-45 is probably just post-war. It probably came out in, let's guess, 1946. But it certainly had that classic style about it. Let me take a wild guess, Craig, and I'm going to turn it back to you. I will bet that you're also interested in classic cars. Would that be right? KB3RHR from VE3AUI.
Well, I had a classic car. Man, Bill, I mean, this is a life lesson. I guess it teaches you a little bit about the man. Yeah, I had a 71 Monte Carlo that I bought when I was in the military that was redone. And then later in life, eBay gets me in trouble, Bill, is what it does. I need to go to counseling for my eBay issues. I bought a 1978 Ford 500 American LaFrance fire truck. Then I had to go buy my my love of life first truck I ever got to drive was a CUCV. It was the green or camouflage Chevy military Blazer. Remember those? 1984. Then, but my real passion, I guess, is motorcycles. I had a 68 rigid Triumph chopper, aka the poor man's Sportster. And I still have motorcycles. I have a 2001 custom built Pro Street and a 2016 Road Glide, the Cadillac. It has everything but an amateur radio on it. So yeah, I'm into that stuff too. But here's the thing, the Art Deco. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about these receivers and how they were built and how they were styled. And amateur radio in general. Now put it all together, Bill. That was the heyday. And I know you're VE3, but that was the heyday of America and Canada. When things were built and you fixed them and you didn't just throw them away and get new. And not everybody had oodles of money, so we didn't buy that kind of stuff. We fixed it. Of course, that's out of my generation. Michelle and I always sit here and think, man, you know, I'd like to have been back in the 50s, the 30s. We sit here and that was a fantastic time. Not the greatest of times, I mean, as far as things go. As far as life and world events, was definitely not the best. But people were hard then. Equipment was built then. We were standalone. And people have changed. Believe it or not, I know you know that. People have changed. Just like everything else. It's entitlement and given to me, and nobody wants to work on anything. We'll just throw it away and buy new. That's another reason why I'm doing this endeavor, I guess. This is when it was heyday. These old receivers and transmitters, they're still around. In 60 years, look around for my ICOM 7600 or my ICOM 7000. They'll be in a landfill somewhere, I'm sure. But here it is, 60 years later, and I sit here looking at a Hallicrafters SX99, a Hallicrafters S76. I'm videotaping this, I'll send it to you. A Hallicrafters S53A, my little cutie, and that RME 45, and they're still here. And they'll probably still be here when I'm gone. So see if those rice boxes are still here. Probably not. How cool is that? Not only was it a generations, I guess, when we built things to last, robust, functional and robust. It was a great generation of people that sat behind all this equipment. So, but life's a-changing. I don't have to tell you that. You can see that. Flip on the news. Take a look. I know, man. I don't sound like a young whippersnapper, do I? I should be on FT8 out mowing the grass and let my computer make contacts. But, I don't know, man. I guess it's the vintage classic thing that just inspires me, man. I don't know. It's crazy. And a lot of old timers that I know that aren't even into radio, I post these videos and pictures, and they just like it, man. They think that's great. So I'm here, Bill. You guys need to pour all your AM knowledge into my hat and send me down the road to teach the next interested generations. VE3AUI from KB3RHR.
Well, that's well said, well said. Lovely transmission. You've had an awful lot more rolling stock than I have in the classic transportation line. But I do still have my old sports car, which I've had now for 34 years. I have a 1960 Triumph TR3. Kind of into the British sports car thing, you know, not the heavy Detroit iron so much. And I still try to get from here to there without having to break down in that old sucker. Knowledge, I don't know if it's knowledge. Although, you know, the old guys have accumulated some knowledge, that's for sure. Some of them quite a bit. I wouldn't put myself in the first rank of that. But, yes, it's a kind of a cultural thing. Whatever you grow up in that you have respect for and get some enjoyment out of and nourishment, you kind of become that. And then you want to see it perpetuated and carried on and not trashed by somebody else. And that's kind of the story you're telling me. And I totally agree with it. So I take my hat off to you. I don't know if you're a young whippersnapper or not, but you sound like you got a few things figured out. And I think that's cool. You know, I'm going to go outside and visit my lawnmower. I live on 7 acres here. I don't mow 7 acres, but I mow a lot of it. And by the time I get done mowing, I got to start at the other end of the property and continue, because in the spring it grows faster than I can get it cut. And I can see the dark clouds starting up here in the northwest. So I am going to try to get an hour into this lawn before I get rained out. It's been lovely talking to you, and I hope you stay with us on AM, and okay on the CW too. I didn't mention that, but you don't have to be a CW genius to appreciate it. And I happen to have been lucky. I was learning CW when I was about 10 years old, and I've had it with me all my life, and I'm still pretty okay at it. So just carry on. Get to it. 73s, I'm going to go outside. Not that I want to tear myself away, but I really do need to get some, useful work out of the day. I was in church until nearly 1 o'clock, so that's not an excuse for anything. That's telling you that I was where I should be. But now I'm not where I should be. I should be out there doing some work. So I know that receiver intimately. 73s, back to you for the final. KB3RHR for VE3AUI.
You okay, Bill? Well, you picked good timing. You slipped almost down into the noise. So the band, she is a-changin'. Man, great talking to you, pal. Don't be a stranger. I've been telling everybody, I've been hanging here a lot on 40. The conditions just seem a lot better with the storms rolling through every now and again. So I've been hanging here on 40, doing my thing. Pleasure talking to you. Good luck keeping that grass, keeping ahead of that grass. I know what it's like. It's a lot of fun. Great talking to you, Bill. If your email is good on QRZ, I'll send you a copy of this video and let you see what the Studio B looks like. 7-3, pal. Have a good Sunday, and we'll look for you the next time. VE3AUI from Kilowatt Boston 3, Red Hot Radio, Craig near Pittsburgh. Take care, Bill. Talk to you later.
Going to QRZ. I'm computer literate, and I've got one because I have to and all that sort of thing. But if you seriously want to send me a video, I'm going to have to tell you my email. Go ahead.
Yeah, ready to copy.
SXCLFL. That's Sierra X-Ray, Charlie Lima, Foxtrot Lima. SXCLFL@gmail.com. Over.
Yeah, I'm going to read it back to you. All lowercase, I assume. Sierra, X-Ray, Charlie, Lima, Foxtrot, Lima, @gmail.com. Is that correct?
I'm a musician here, among other things, and that stands for sax, clarinet, and flute, which are the instruments that I teach and play. So it's sax, clarinet, flute @gmail.com. Over.
Yeah, I got it. All right, Sierra X-Ray, Charlie Lima, Foxtrot Lima. Well, you see, you're into other things too. 7-3, buddy. Take care. Don't let the pollen eat you up. And we'll look for you again. VE3AUI from KB3RHR. 7-3, Bill. Take care.